Jrue Holiday was like, hedge? You gonna hedge? Oh, yeah, they got me f***ed up. Hell no. Boy, that boy Kyrie got that ball. That came right out. Should have been hedging, goddamn.
Jrue Holiday did not get banned the way the internet wanted him banned. And that is exactly why this Victor Wembanyama situation has turned into one of the wildest playoff controversies of the year. Because the second Wemby hit the hardwood face first, everybody started looking for someone to blame. The replay looked scary, the fall looked brutal, and the timing could not have been worse for San Antonio. But here's the part nobody's talking about. The NBA did not punish Jrue Holiday. The league basically removed Wembanyama from the series through concussion protocol, and that might be way more important. This all started in Game 2, when Wembanyama had the ball on the block with Jrue Holiday guarding him. And right away, that matchup looked strange, because Wemby is 7'4", and Jrue is a veteran guard giving up a full foot of height. But Jrue has made a career out of surviving weird matchups. He is smart, strong, patient, and he knows every old-school defensive trick in the book. So when Wemby turned baseline, Jrue tried to pull the chair. That is not some dirty new move. That is something defenders have done forever. You feel the offensive player leaning into you. You remove the resistance, and the player loses balance. But this is where it gets dangerous, because when that move happens against a normal-sized player, maybe he stumbles, maybe he travels, maybe he falls backward. When it happens against Victor Wembanyama, everything is different. His body is longer, his center of gravity is different, his limbs are everywhere, and when he started falling, he was also trying to move the ball, so he could not protect himself the way most players would. Instead of catching himself, he went down face first, and the whole arena froze. The replay was ugly. Wemby hit the floor hard, stayed down, sat up slowly, talked to teammates, and then went straight back toward the tunnel. That is when the mood changed. This was not just a normal playoff fall. This was the reigning defensive player of the year, the Spurs franchise, the guy who had just dominated Game 1, suddenly leaving the floor with a head injury. And once the concussion diagnosis came out, everything about the series changed. Here's the part nobody's talking about. Game 1 made it look like San Antonio might be in control of the whole matchup. Wembanyama had looked unstoppable, dropping a huge playoff debut, protecting the rim, stretching the floor, and making Portland look like they were trying to solve a video game boss. Then Game 2 happens, he only plays 12 minutes, scores 5 points, and suddenly the Spurs go from looking like a team that could cruise to looking like a team fighting for survival. Now, the internet immediately came after Jrue Holiday. Some fans said the play was reckless, some said he should have known better, some said pulling the chair on a player that tall while he's spinning is dangerous even if it is technically legal. But that is where the debate gets messy, because Jrue Holiday is not known as a dirty player. This is not a guy with a reputation for cheap shots. He is a champion, an all-defensive player, a respected veteran, and one of the most trusted professionals in the league. This is where young players usually make a mistake. They think every bad result means there was bad intent. Basketball doesn't always work like that. Sometimes a legal play has a terrible outcome. Sometimes a smart defensive trick becomes dangerous because of timing, body position, and bad luck. Jrue did not swing at him. He did not undercut him in the air. He did not shove him from behind. He made a defensive move that players have used forever, but this time the result was terrifying. Still, Jrue's post-game comments made everything hotter. When he said he didn't really see Wembanyama fall because he was complaining to the referee, fans lost it. To some people, that sounded cold. To others, it just sounded like a player caught in the moment, focused on the foul call and not realizing how bad the fall was behind him. But the damage was done. Once people heard that, they started framing it like Jrue made the play, ignored the injury, and moved on. And that is how playoff narratives get born. Here's the part nobody's talking about. The NBA did not upgrade the foul, did not suspend Jrue, and did not fine him. That tells you the league did not view the play as dirty enough to punish. But the league still changed the series because Wembanyama entered concussion protocol, and that protocol is not a suggestion. It is not the Spurs saying maybe he should rest. It is a league-controlled medical process, minimum inactivity, testing, symptom monitoring, and clearance before he can return. That is why the title feels explosive even though Jrue was not literally banned. The NBA did not ban Jrue Holiday. It effectively banned Victor Wembanyama from returning until he is medically cleared. And in a playoff series, that is massive. You can call it player safety, and you should, but you also have to admit the basketball consequences are enormous. San Antonio's entire season may now depend on medical clearance. This is where it gets dangerous, because concussion timelines do not care about playoff urgency. The Spurs can be down in the series, the fans can beg for Wemby, the coaches can want him, Wemby himself can feel like he is ready. None of that matters if the protocol says no. Brain injuries are different. There is no just tape it up approach. You cannot rush a player back because the series is slipping away. And that is where San Antonio fans are terrified. If the average return is around a week or more, that could mean missing multiple games. Game 3, Game 4, maybe even Game 5 depending on symptoms and clearance. And in a series that just got tied, that is a nightmare. One fall could flip home court advantage. One moment could turn a 62-win team into a first-round upset candidate. The game itself showed exactly how much Wemby means. The The Spurs still built a 14-point fourth-quarter lead without him, but they collapsed. That is the part that hurts. They had the game, they had a chance to survive the injury night and still go up 2-0. Instead, Portland stormed back, Scoot Henderson had a huge night, Jrue gave them veteran control, and San Antonio looked lostly without its best player. Here's the part nobody's talking about. The Spurs are not just missing Wemby's scoring, they are missing his gravity. His defense changes every drive, his length changes every pass, his shooting changes spacing, his presence changes confidence. Even when he is not touching the ball, the whole game bends around him. You do not replace that with effort. You do not replace that with one backup center playing solid minutes. You survive it if you can, but you do not replace it. And that is why this could become one of those playoff moments people remember for years. If Wemby comes back quickly and San Antonio advances, people will call it a scary moment and move on. But if the Spurs lose the series while he is stuck in protocol, this play will become part of NBA history. Fans will replay it forever. They will ask if the move should still be legal in that situation. They will ask if smaller defenders pulling the chair on extremely tall players creates a unique danger. They will ask if the league needs to adjust. This is where young players usually make a mistake. They think rules only change when someone does something dirty. Sometimes rules change because a legal play creates an unacceptable risk. The NBA has changed before. Landing space rules, flagrant foul interpretations, concussion protocols, all of that came from the league trying to reduce danger. If this Wembanyama injury becomes a defining playoff moment, do not be shocked if the NBA at least studies these kinds of plays more closely. But again, blaming Jrue is not simple. He made a legal basketball play. The refs called a common foul. The league did not punish him, and most analysts seem to agree it wasn't dirty. That matters. You cannot call every hard playoff moment malicious just because the result is bad, but you also cannot ignore the fact that Victor Wembanyama is not built like anyone else in the league. Defending him may require a different level of awareness. Here's the part nobody's talking about. Wemby's size is both his superpower and his vulnerability. His length lets him block shots nobody else can reach. His height lets him shoot over defenders. His wingspan lets him erase mistakes. When someone that tall loses balance, the fall is different. The distance to the floor is longer. The body control is harder. The impact can be worse. That is the uncomfortable reality of having a player who is basically one of one. And now the NBA has to balance two things at once. It has to protect Wembanyama's health, but it also knows that his absence could change the entire playoff bracket. The league wants its biggest young star on the floor. The Spurs need him. The ratings probably benefit from him, but none of that can come before brain safety. And honestly, that is the one area where the league cannot afford to be casual. This is where it gets dangerous, because if the NBA cleared him too quickly and something went wrong, the backlash would be 10 times worse. Fans may complain now, but rushing a concussed player back into playoff basketball would be irresponsible. So the league is stuck. Let him sit and people say the protocol decided the series. Clear him too fast and people say the league risked his future for ratings. There is no easy answer. That is why this story is so much bigger than Jrue Holiday. Jrue became the face of the controversy because he was the defender on the play. But the real story is how one legal move, one fall, and one medical protocol can change everything. This is about player safety. It is about playoff fairness. It is about how much control the league should have once a medical issue happens. And it is about what happens when the most unique player in basketball suffers the kind of injury nobody wants to see. The legacy angle is huge for Wembanyama too. He is only 22, but he is already being treated like the future of the league. Defensive Player of the Year, MVP finalist, franchise savior, the kind of player people expect to dominate for the next decade. So when he goes down in his first big playoff run, it feels bigger than one series. It feels like the NBA's future hit the floor with him. And for Jrue, this could become an unfair stain if the Spurs lose. Because even if he did nothing dirty, fans remember outcomes. They remember the player who was guarding him. They remember the quote after the game. They remember the fall. That is how sports history works sometimes. It is not always fair, but it sticks. So now the debate starts. Did the NBA get it right by refusing to punish Jrue Holiday while keeping Victor Wembanyama out through strict concussion protocol, or did the league accidentally let the wrong player decide the series? Because if Wemby comes back and the Spurs survive, this becomes a scary footnote. But if San Antonio goes home early, people will not just talk about Portland's comeback. They will talk about Jrue pulling the chair, Wemby hitting the floor, and the NBA's protocol becoming the most powerful player in the series.